If we count the web novel, it has been more than 10 years long journey, and at the end of it all, I can only feel a sense of completeness. For the current me who just finished reading it, the world feels so wonderful right now. If I have to use simpler words, I think I can say that Tenjo Tenge Yuiga Doksong. Well, using I may not be quite right, but we as a whole group of generations are truly lucky. We may be born too late to explore the world, and we may be born too early to explore the universe. But we are just in time for the golden age of entertainment. If we ignore all those recent slaps coming from the West, or all those trashy, barely not fanfiction of other fanfiction stories coming out from Shousetsu, we truly live in a blessed age of entertainment. We quite regularly get world-changing masterpieces since the 1990s, and things that come out just become more and more polished since. However, the rise of AI finally put an end to the good times soon. And talking about an end, the end of Ascent of Bookworm feels like the end of an era. Usually, when some story got massive traction, it's only a matter of time until you find countless inferior copies, which in turn would grind everyone so much that at the end of things, we got another very polished form of it. But it has been so long since Ascent of Bookworm was published, and as far as I know, we barely have any copy of it. No one trails behind it. You can say it was one of its kind. Of course, there are countless stories where the main plot is about developing village or country in another world, but many are just too magical, too ludicrous, too easy, too accommodating, or too much of a joke. It took so much to just improve the orphanage, it took even more to improve the situation in the lower town, and it took so much time and effort to make her province rise up in the rank. She is wealthy, has authority, and has a lot of support, yet she still needs to bend over backward because society just doesn't fit her worldview. She needs to adapt to the world, not the opposite. In some other story, one person can push a city from the Bronze Age to the Iron Age in a single volume. The closest thing I can find is this and this: The Conqueror from a Dying Kingdom and Fushi no Kami. The first one started slow and went on making bookmaking business while preparing for the eventual ruin of his kingdom, while the other one literally started with him trying to borrow a book from a church after almost entertaining the idea of unliving himself because of how miserable life in his village is. Both of them tell the story in a slow burn manner, but Fushi no Kami just acts before it reaches potential. And this, well, just read the title again. The Conqueror from a Dying Kingdom. It just screams love, politics, and war. When Ascent of Bookworm ended, we will have nothing like that, because once again, it was one of its kind. Of course, there's also a chance those stories with Ascent of Bookworm vibes simply flew under my radar. If that's the case, please give me your recommendation in the comment section below. With that, let's take a look at the last volume. Spoiler warning. After almost becoming a godslayer in the previous volume, Ferdinand is currently battling fate to save Mine from ascending the towering stairway. While the Duchy White ritual has been able to suck Mine's divinity dry, she's only getting weaker and weaker. He can plan and prepare, but the divine curse, or excessive blessing, is too strong. He has no choice but to rely on other gods. Good thing his prayer is answered. Her life is no longer in danger. But we still need to restore her memories that have been severed by the goddess. Using the Mind Sync tool, Once again, he dives into her mind and shows all kinds of important stuff he sees. But his effort bears no fruits. While she understands the things she sees, she feels nothing in particular. Only after Ferdinand himself got emotional did Mine's feelings begin to stir. And then they finally arrived at her last day being a commoner. The day she is no longer the daughter of a common soldier. Ferdinand's guilt, the nostalgic scene, and her love-filled blessing at the time finally reconnect everything and restore her memories. On the good, the bad, the happy, and the sad memories. Mine wakes up, pretty nonchalantly at that, which exasperated Ferdinand to no end. But that calm attitude stems from her faith that Ferdinand would definitely save her. That's why even when her body is in constant pain, she can't eat, she's afraid of sleeping, and her body gets weaker by the day, she can remain relatively calm. After also calming himself, Ferdinand offered to announce her death. By doing so, he can bring Mine back to her old family. The old Mine might have accepted that offer, but the current her knows better. Accepting it means she would put blames from other people, responsibilities, and all kinds of burdens on his shoulders. He is someone she treasured dearly, and her wish is to not see him suffer. Not to mention, becoming a commoner means she can get married and probably can't survive anyway. It was at this moment, Ferdinand finally spoke his true wish. While he does want Mine to be happy even if it means leaving him, what he actually wanted was to be together with her. Not because someone forced him to, or it was some kind of scheme, but simply because... Let's just read what he said. I went to great lengths to make sure no one would oppose our engagement after your ascension through mortal divinity. I could not bear the thought of another man taking my place as your true family. Man, as an old reader, I feel like my daughter has just been taken away. Next, being able to live is good, but it's not enough. It's time to do some work. First, Entwickeln. Renovating the town to prepare for the Gutenberg and all her personnel from Ehrenfest, and of course, building the famous library of Alexandria. Second, make engagement phase stone and get their engagement approved by the new Zen. We got into some speed bump here because technically Mine hasn't even graduated from the academy. But this is exactly what having friends in high places are for. Eglantine just gave Mine the final test right there and proved she is already more than capable of doing her job. Then, the engagement ceremony. As you are all aware, Mine, while smart, is pretty clueless about political scheming. So, in order for her to be able to bring Ferdinand to the next conference, he needs to be part of the Alp family. Her second and third dads congratulated her. Grandpa complained that Ferdinand was just not the right choice, and her second and third mother are happy for her. And for me, for the longest time, I feel a bit complicated. But when I heard, Divine Avatar of Miss Theonora and my Goddess of Light, your radiance dispels the darkness and shines without end. Lost in Chaos-Cypher's swaying veil, I was powerless to save my Geduld. I could only wait for Evike Liebe's sword to fall. But then you appeared, my Goddess of Light. You tore through the gloom and brought order to chaos. And I will protect Alexandria and you with it. I can only say, may the newly engaged be blessed. There are many tales to tell after the engagement ceremony, but I'll skip most of them. We say goodbye to people and we prepare this and that. Then, time for the inauguration ceremony and Archduke conference. From now onwards, she is no longer part of Ardenfest. It's time to start her new journey. By the way, the inauguration itself commenced with Mine and Ferdinand walking under an intense oppressive mood, which is understandable since her divinity is no longer there and she is also underage. When Eglantine bestowed the title of Op to her, many objections immediately erupted. "There's no precedent," they said. But well, I am the precedent. She rebuked. Then she shows her brutish side, shutting down everyone and earning praise from Ferdinand. She is now an Archduchess. Never again will anything precious be taken away from her. The story is closed by an epilogue wherein, without any notice, Mine and Ferdinand sneak into her parents' place, trying to surprise everyone including Benno and Lutz, who come to celebrate his coming-of-age ceremony. But in true Mine fashion, her plan already failed before she knew it. Their commotion can clearly be heard from outside, announcing their unannounced arrival. Lutz got flabbergasted. Benno simply rolled his eyes in exasperation. Camille was totally confused, and Tully and Mom were simply happy. While Dad is busy rejecting the reality that both of his daughters are going to get married soon. Meeting her family and friends, it didn't take long for Mine to get teary eyes. Finally back to her home, free from constricting contract, and finally able to regain her family and friends. And this time, finally, she can actually hug her little brother, not just looking at him from afar without even being able to call his name. By the way, while everyone is being emotional, Ferdinand is busy with Ferdinand. I know you guys know what I meant by that. With his nonchalant attitude towards his daughter, that became more irked. But Ferdinand promised that his love for her would be just as strong as her family. The scene ended with both of them going back to the Op Castle, promising to come back, and with that, the boy who never had a real family and the girl who lost her family finally become family.
甘い潮風がまた手招きしてる夕凪に響く待ってよ少し緩んだ笑顔グラス越しで見ていたソーダ色の夏見つけたいつもまでして合わせて指先の明日を見つめた
Thanks for watching!